Hello and welcome to episode 397 of the DCP plus Side Quest podcast. Got a lot to talk about. We got PlayStation stuff to talk about, some Destiny stuff to talk about, some new games to talk about. I'm really excited for Frostpunk, but that doesn't come out till tomorrow. Sad about it.
Frostpunk, yeah.
I got my dates mixed up. I thought it was today. I woke up this morning like all excited to play some Frostpunk 2. Hopes were dashed. My whole day was ruined, frankly.
That's like waking up thinking it's a Friday and it's a Thursday.
Mm-hmm. That is the worst feeling.
Exactly
when
like
you're
that.
So excited. Well, imagine it's like being a kid and you wake up and you're like, oh, it's Christmas, and like, just kidding, it's not Christmas. You have to wait another
April.
day.
What have you guys been up to this week? You been playing anything fun? You been doing anything fun?
You guys take it away. I'll go last.
I got re-addicted to Monster Hunter after our interview.
The interview has worked.
Yeah, right.
Let's go.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? Now I feel like playing some Monster Hunter World. And then I ended up playing 10 hours of it on stream.
I will say that interview was so, like, I've only been able to listen to it half so far, but it was such a good interview for players who have never entered the Monster Hunter world before. Just the way you described the classes and weapons and everything, I was like, okay, like I understand more now, having not played the game, just listening to the energy that y'all brought for it and everything. It was a great show. So if you're interested, definitely go and check out that show that the team here did with the devs. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I keep thinking, like, why am I so tired? I was like, oh, that's right. Like that whole day, I'm like, I'm very sleepy today. It's like a 1 a.m.
I think I was watching you when you realized you're like, I woke up at 1 a.m. Oh my God, what time is it? You're like, all right.
I also started playing Monster Hunter.
Awesome.
I started
did
playing.
You?
Yeah, I started playing Rise on the Switch because I kind of like got it, and then I don't know, I put like 10 hours into it and then just kind of bounced off. So I figured I'd give it another shot.
Yeah.
But
well, how's it going?
Well, I didn't play too much. I had to download like an enormous patch on my Switch, which took me too long. So then I started painting miniatures again.
I saw the picture.
Forgot about the whole thing
on Twitter. I saw.
Oh, there's a picture on Twitter. I need to.
There is. Yes.
Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. Painting the little Warhammer miniatures. I'm surprised that I'm able to do it as well as I am.
I was gonna say it's impressive. Yeah,
doing the fine detail, I thought would be like no chance. Like I'd just be like slopping paint everywhere. But it's actually incredibly satisfying to sit there and just like do little tiny lines and like everything. It's really fun. You can really slow though. Stream? What's that?
You can do a Bob Ross stream.
Where it's I don't know. I would have to get a new lens for my camera to like be able to zoom in on something that small. I suppose I could, but man, I mean these things
that always like they end up in my TikTok all the time, just like Warhammer painting streams where people just have a close up of the yeah. I'm like, and it's just like slowly ticking over. Like maybe I could do it every time.
Like my big goal is to go and play, right? It's like to get my army painted and then go and play people, which I'm really excited to do. I've been watching people play it. I've been like getting all the rules books and like studying the rules. But I think that is probably a after Christmas thing at this point, like based on how long it's taken me to paint these little fuckers. It's taking a long time. I suppose I'll get better.
So what's going to happen when you go down there? You go down there and get whooped, and then you're like, okay, new army. Then you got to start again.
Start another one, another 6 months.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm having fun with that so far.
Nice.
All right. Google's definitely listening to me because I keep getting these like how to play your first game of Warhammer in my YouTube feed now as well.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go off on a little side tangent here, but I think like I've been really happy like building these little miniatures, painting them, and like that's been really fun. But let me tell you, if you think it's hard to get into Destiny as a new player, try looking into the tabletop version of Warhammer. It is it's like a brick wall that has been placed in front of you that can only be dismantled piece by piece by like watching tons of like videos, like how to get into Warhammer. Games Workshop, the maker of Warhammer, have no input to put into this whatsoever. Like, they don't tell you, like, they say, here's like 4 different starter boxes you can get. You know, pick whatever one you want. I don't know how much money you got. Buy the most expensive one you can afford. Oh, do you think you can play with that? No, that's just a starter box. You have to put in at least twice that much money to get going. And then, oh, you want the rules? Oh, you'd think it comes with the rules, wouldn't you? It comes with some of the rules, but not the rules you need. You gotta buy a $70 book for that.
1 of 2, and then you need to also get the faction book that explains the details of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, oh, you gotta get some cards so you know what your characters do. Otherwise, you'd be leafing through this book like a freaking monkey for the rest of the next 4 hours. It is hard to penetrate. I'm hoping it's gonna be rewarding. It is fun just like messing with the miniatures and painting them, but hopefully, like the actual playing of it is as fun. And Games Workshop does have like retail locations, and like local hobby stores have like game nights, and around me at least, they have been incredibly inviting.
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
Yeah, right.
Like, hey, you want to pick up a new addiction? Looks like you need a whole new box of things to buy.
But the hobby store close to my house does like a workshop night where everybody comes together and like shares tools and paints and everything to kind of like socially kind of work on it, which is kind of neat. And then they also on Saturdays do like, you know, gaming events where they get everybody together and host games on, you know, these enormous tables that you need.
Well, if you wonder how people make friends when they're old, this is how.
Yeah. You're looking at it.
They saw you coming a mile away.
Oh, man. My neighbor likes to call me a hobby tourist.
40s. Looks like he's got money.
He's selling his Ferrari. Lego, what have you been up to?
I have been watching the downfall of Destiny YouTube. No, I'm just kidding, but kind of not.
Yeah. I've watched a couple videos and people talking about like their statistics and being like, this is unfounded territory.
Yeah. There was a tweet today by Shadow, and just reading everybody's like take on it and where they're going. Just a lot of people trying to diversify right now. Fortunately, I'm in a position where I just am doing it for fun because I just love doing it, and like it's not that part isn't my job, and so I'm able to just kind of do it on the side, which is like for me, dead time Destiny is like my favorite time because that's when nobody's expecting anything else, and you can dive down into the really super nerdy stuff and find something nobody else has found yet. But for everybody else, it sucks, and I do register that, and it's an interesting time in the community for sure, and like that back and forth of like Bungie being like they know they need to release information about what's coming next, but they have just been through so much. How quickly can they? Because whatever they do say, it's got to look good and it's got to be truthful, or else you just have more people leave. And so just seeing that dichotomy play out of people wanting to make content but not having anything to make it about, / players wanting more, they start playing other games, and there's a lot of great games out right now. So
is this a reflection on the player base? Like nobody's playing Destiny, nobody's interested in Destiny, so nobody's watching videos? Or is this like content creator burnout? Like I'm just not into it right now, so I don't want to make the videos. Like what's going on?
I think it's a combination of all, but I think the majority of it probably, if I were to like to take a guess, because I do know creators that are still somewhat making the videos, and those videos that are being made, that's why you're seeing the tweets out from content creators of like, my stuff is doing so badly and so is everybody else's, and so everybody's covering other stuff. But also this is also normal downtime Destiny where like there's not much to talk about because it's just the end of an episode, treat it as the last 2 weeks of a season, is basically what it is, except this time there's no story we're all waiting for. It's just nothing. So we've never had that before either. That's kind of new. But yeah, I think that's what it is. And that combined with the goodwill kind of being gone, combined with a lot of streamers and YouTubers just wanting to try new stuff too. So there's not as many videos. So a lot of people, they get on a roll with other kinds of content.
I was watching Fallout today on Twitch because he goes through the TWAB, and it's like a nice way to kind of see what's going on. And I saw like his numbers for reading the TWAB are normally like really, really high because that's an easy thing of like, I'm gonna read the TWAB to you. It's great. And they're definitely not where they were before. So there's definitely less people tuning in to see what's going on with Destiny. And like you said, Lego, I think it's just a mixture of so many things. It's you had all these layoffs happen right after the final shape. So we were all kind of on a high after the final shape. And then that happened and it was immediately kind of undercut that excitement about Bungie and the future. And, you know, it kind of undercut it. And then the episode came out and it was what it was. And actually, Mylan, you might like this because I was watching a video with Ascendant Nomad and Bife and Above. And Bife said, shout out to poor Mylan because he was ringing the alarm bells week 1 of the episode dropping. Yeah.
Vindication.
And yeah, speaking of Bife, he's put up a video of things he's gonna cover, and he put out that Warhammer video. Yeah, he's gonna be doing Warhammer, and he's like, I just want to tell stories. So if there's a story, you know, if it feels like there's a story to tell in a game, I'm gonna do that.
I mean, like it's like a whole ecosystem when it comes to like content creation, and it has a big snowball effect. So, you know, when the bigger content creators that do it for a job are obviously like paying attention to numbers because that directly impacts their income.
Yeah.
So when things start going down, that's when you start getting tweets about like, oh, I need to try other stuff, I need to try to diverse, I need to do this, that, and the other. But that also has like a knock-on effect to like the hobby content creators that are doing it, like the medium-sized ones that do it once a week or still have a full-time job, because you have less eyeballs in general in the directory, whether it's on Twitch or whether it's on YouTube, right? Because that's how like YouTube recommends more videos. Like, oh, Aztecross put a video up. Oh, you might like this video from a medium-sized content creator. So like you get this trickle-down effect where the guys that are doing for a full-time job diversifying because they need to pay their mortgages and rent, and then that actually impacts like the lower tier guys, and then it sort of like filters down like that. So and it's always this snowball effect when there's like less things to talk about in Destiny, but then you multiply that by just general sentiment towards Bungie and drama and other bits and pieces, and people are probably on the like less motivated side to consume content. Maybe they're okay playing the game, but they're like not in that zone of like, I want to know everything about Destiny or keep up to date on TWABs as much as I did before. And yeah, we've seen this before, but I think it's probably exaggerated by the other things that are happening with Bungie and finishing Final Shape and like drama and firing people, all that stuff on top of it.
I don't want it to sound like me bringing it up is saying like, oh, like it really is the downfall permanently or anything like that. Like that's just half of it is just it's the season for this to happen. But it feels more weighty because of like Mylan saying the other stuff going down. But like new episode comes out in October with a new dungeon and they're treating it differently, like a world's first race, all that kind of stuff. Like people are going to get hyped about that. A lot of people are going to cover it again. It's not like you're not going to be able to find that content if you're looking for it. So yeah, it goes both ways, but it is worth noting everything Mylan's saying. Like there's just a lot more going on right now.
The game has always been cyclical like that, like from the beginning. I think year 1 was kind of like a constant trajectory up, but even year 2 was like we got the Taken King and then nothing for a long time. So it's like, you know, like people's interest slowed down and then built back up when new stuff started coming out.
Yeah, I think content creation for Destiny is probably going to start looking more like less like live service and more just like DLC releases, where you're just going to get these big peaks when new content comes out and the stuff to talk about, and then you're going to have a lot of variety in between, and then big peaks again, which I think a lot of like Destiny fan base that have just been playing Destiny aren't quite used to yet. Like you kind of have your Destiny only channels, and I think the channels that are probably going to stick around are going to have to add other stuff to basically keep in between those big content gaps. Whereas before, you know, people have been covering for 10 years. I've only, like, my main channel, I've only covered Destiny for literally a decade.
Mhm.
But like someone like Bife who's done the same thing, now you're going to see like there's Warhammer and there's whatever the flavor is between those big drops. So I think like from a content creator point of view, it's going to feel less like a live service game that you can just cover every single day or every week, to more like I will cover this when content drops, a DLC drops, an expansion drops, whatever you want to call it. And then you will see a bunch of stuff in between,
Yeah,
which is hard.
it's kind of what like Monster Hunter creators do, like go super hard because it's not really a live
Yeah.
service, right? There's big
Yeah,
breaks for
exactly.
Monster Hunter. But you go super hard when Monster Hunter is hot, and then a lot of them have crossovers with like Souls likes because it's people who like fighting good boss like fighting good
Yeah.
boss in other games.
Yeah.
So there's crossover there, and then crossover with like, just action RPGs. So if you are interested in like Destiny, you have things that kind of shoot off of that, like shooters. And I think Space Marine is a great one because it's a
Mm.
co-op shooter. It works
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I think if Destiny creators like those other games, maybe they don't, but if they do, I think they can find like some other games that their community will be interested. Helldivers was another one that a lot of Destiny folks loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 There's this other thing that I'm curious if y'all have any takes on this, because I've just been thinking about it a lot. With every weekend, Trials comes out or something else, and there's always these complaints of like, it's this weapon again, it's this what. Not so much the map because we got new maps, but weapons specifically of like Trials or like the seasonal weapons that are dropping. Like it's none of the stuff that Destiny players are usually excited about, and I feel like
Mm,
that is contributing to all this. Like take fusion rifles for example. Like there's a whole segment of people that like fusion rifles, and there hasn't been a new fusion rifle like outside of the one that dropped with the big expansion, this year.
yeah.
Like outside of that one, that's the only one since like last like November that has come out. Like it's been like so long. And like hand cannons are kind of that way too. Like we got when it first started, but like nothing in the season is really that way. Like the big like hand cannon sniper fusion, like all the things that Destiny's known for. I feel like there's not much of that out there right now. And for the side of the community that normally thrives at this time, like in PvP, where there's a lot of content you can keep going through, there's not much of that anymore, which I guess that also brings in the whole side of the conversation that crafting is killing the game is like a big
Yeah.
one that has happened recently. Everybody's like, well, I crafted my stuff, I'm done, which I don't know, like maybe is that the direction Destiny's going, where you, like you said, like you do it in bursts. There's this DLC, you play, you get the stuff, then you're out, you go play something else. I don't
Isn't
know.
that healthy though? Isn't that like a healthy way to do it?
Well, that's what they tried to do with Destiny. When Destiny 2 first came out, they were like,
Yeah.
no more random rolls. You just play.
Yep.
And everybody's like, we don't want this. Like, we want to grind
I
for
wanted
this
that.
stuff.
I wanted
We
that. I
don't want
like that.
Wendy. What are you doing?
They literally, when it came out and they were at that first summit when Destiny 2 had that bad launch, like I distinctly remember being in the room and the devs talking about the decision to like not have random roles, and they were like, we were trying to help you have variety in your gaming content, like, and not no life it. And then I'm pretty sure it was Gigs like, we want to no life it, like we want random roles, and like they're like, okay, random roles coming back now.
Yep.
But on the topic of loot, I think there's obviously like different objectives with loot. Like sometimes you have loot to get like lapse players back. Like I'll have people come and like, oh, are you gonna play again to get X thing? Or like Icebreaker, like is Icebreaker coming back? I actually haven't been keeping. Yeah, someone's like, oh, you're gonna play to get Icebreaker back? I was like, no, but that was maybe. Okay. But that's an objective to get like lapsed players back in. And then I think what you're talking about is like loot to appeal to the current player base who are still happy, still engaging, still want to do stuff. Is like, and you're kind of saying, well, the loot is like not appealing to the guys we got there at the moment.
Even for the loop of content, like people talking about it and it's remaining in conversation, like you don't see YouTube it because like what are they going to talk about when it's nothing anybody's excited about? Like I was really excited about a trace rifle video I did, but like it's a trace rifle. Not that many, nobody cares, So it's just that's the season right now that we're in with like that's the loot that they chose, which is interesting from a content perspective of like what people want to see and what they want to watch, not just what would bring people back, but what do they want to talk about when they are playing.
I mean, I'm interested in general whether this is a problem that like can be solved, or is this just like a game's been out for 10 years? Like how do they make loot exciting? And I guess you got to be in the thick of it, really. Like are players still excited by the loots? Is this like a general like we're not is Bungie just not making the right choices to make players excited by loot, or are players gonna be not really excited by loot because they've been playing for so long?
Yeah, could be either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Me neither. It was just an interesting thought. But yeah, I am excited for stuff that is coming in the future, but right now, yeah, it's dead zone a bit.
But I guess overall the outcome's the same. Is if players aren't excited by the loot in a loot and shooter, you've got issues, because then people aren't doing trials, they aren't doing PvP, they aren't doing activities like, and you end up like leaving the game. So, I mean, it's one of the reasons I like wasn't as interested in Destiny. Is I felt like I got everything and I had crafted everything and I had enough things that I could use in dungeons and raids, and also just had been playing it for like 10 years as well. So
Yeah. For me, it's the PvP thing,
Yeah,
I haven't enjoyed it for like 2-3 years. So I'm like, why would I go and do the dungeon, do the raid, do the strikes, do the new seasonal stuff if ultimately the thing that I want to use them in, I don't want to play anymore.
Which makes me really curious for when they do announce, which next week, it's the first thing in the TWAB that they talk about, I think, is on Monday. There's going to be a dev insight for Frontiers. And it's like, are we finally going to know what is coming next? Because there's a whole group of people. I think a lot of people feel this way where they're just not playing because they feel like, why would I go get this stuff? I don't even know what I'm going to use it for. Like, I don't even know.
Right. Is there
Right.
going to be a
lot
game
of
for me to use
I
it in?
think that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing that has also killed a lot of people's excitement to find out what's going on with Destiny, is because they're like, we don't actually even know what's coming. So like, how can I be excited when I don't know what's coming? You fired a bunch of people who make the stuff. So like, what is the future of my investment in this game even looking like?
Right.
Yeah. And on the flip side, like I don't want it to sound like that everyone's like that. Like I feel like I'm in the category of like I want the stuff just because I want to play it now because it's fun. But like I totally understand just wanting this stuff for the future. Like it does feel down, like that downer vibe we were talking about at the beginning. Like going into all this, watching everybody get laid off. It's like, what is content gonna look like? And they finally came out and gave a roadmap, but they haven't talked about like what's the story gonna be? What are we actually fighting? What are we playing?
Right. Yeah.
You guys see that article? I'm gonna try and find it, but the article about the lawyer who helped broker the deal between Bungie and Sony.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy article, right? Like speaking to the future of Destiny. Please correct me if I don't get the details exactly right. I'm trying to find the article as we speak, but it was like the guy helped broker the lawyer helped broker the deal between Sony and Bungie, and Bungie was adamant that they really wanted control of the studio after this deal, and the lawyer like seeming to give the impression in this article that like there's no way that's going to happen. Like there's no way you're signing this over.
Like I don't remember that part of the article. The part of me that stood out was them feeling like Sony was making a lot of moves that Bungie should have made a long time ago.
Yes, also that, right? It's like,
yeah,
hey,
I was like, oh dang. Like one of them I think was about, and this is where I wish Fran was here so he could, because he's real big on correcting me if I'm citing somebody incorrectly. But I'm pretty sure this was the article where they were talking about like, yeah, they're like putting more effort into like new player experience,
which has been sorely lacking for many years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I was like, that is good.
Yeah, if you want to have a big player base, you have to get new players in there. You need fresh blood in there constantly, and that's been something we've been harping on this podcast since I don't know last 5 years, I'd say, right?
Yeah. Oh, here's the quote. Okay. Let me read the quote exactly because he's not. He said to be. This is what happened. Is he posted it? I'm pretty sure it was like he was posting on LinkedIn or something like that, and somebody took
Yeah,
that
yep.
comment and they published it in an article. And the quote was, "To be clear, I'm not talking about the layoffs. I'm talking about forcing them to get their heads out of their asses and focus on things like implementing a method of new player acquisition, not just doing fan service for the fans in the Bungie C-suite and running the game like a business. Good. I still have friends in that environment and I'd like them to keep their jobs."
Yeah. True.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean we've heard that the people who put together the new light experience had one pass at making it good, and then that was like the only time they ever worked on it. So it's like, are
That's
you gonna get things perfect the first time? No, but not only that, but you're in a live service game that evolves over time. You're gonna have to constantly update the new player experience.
Yup. And I hope that we do see more iterations on it. It would be game changing for them to make this game more accessible. It's like you were saying with the tabletop Warhammer stuff. It's like you got to really want to do that if you're
Yeah.
going to get into it, and that's kind of
you
how
do.
Destiny is too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Like
Yeah.
even when I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get back into Destiny for this, like this new expansion. I'm sitting here as a veteran of 10 years, like, what do I gotta do exactly? Like, what do I need to know? What do I gotta catch up on to get ready for this? Like, that stuff is just not like laid out there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
And it should be.
Well, I was talking about loot a second ago. I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be a good time to just hit the TWAB stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
real
let's
quick.
hit the twab. Yeah.
I'm not gonna go through all like we can do high level of the ability changes stuff
Titans
that's
are
in here.
getting buffed. It's
There you
all
go.
you need to know.
Oh boy.
Titans are
Titans
back.
are
They took
back.
a break for 5 minutes and they were like, nope, we got to bring them back to the top. So there you
I will say though,
go.
it is a very interesting change for PvE what they want to do with that class to actually be able to aggro boss damage or not. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's boss damage
It's
too,
like
but
taunting them, yeah,
yeah, you taunt enemies now basically. I think I
with your
think boss
shield.
damage it wasn't as much, but all the other AI, there are certain situations where they wouldn't. But all the AI will aggro your barricade now when you put it down starting in Revenant. This is going to be a change. And
Oh,
it's like,
cool.
oh, it's
That
like
is cool.
actually a protect class, not just give you shields. Like warlocks will do all your healing still, but now it will be you can actually take the aggro so your team can go and do something. This is pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
That's
just
I do
your
pretty
like
normal
that.
barricade?
Yeah, either one. Normal barricade, the one that gives you shield, or the rally barricade even. So you can pop that down and they will actually shoot at your shield instead of you.
That
And you
makes
gotta
rally barricade a lot better because then
Oh,
you can actually shoot back right in front of the shield, or behind the shield.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're gonna see
you
a
gotta
lot of
be
rally barricade.
standing behind it too
Yeah. They did say though
for it
it
to
makes it
work.
easier to like peek shoot out of it because they're specifically aiming to get your barricade.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just like me in PvP. I'm just aiming at your barricade and getting shot in the face.
So does that apply to your super shield? Yeah, Sentinels. Is it
Not
Sentinel Shield Guard?
It applies to the new prismatic one where you hold that unbreakable shield.
Oh,
They'll
the
do it at
grenade
that.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah, but they won't do it to your super yet. They said if this all goes well and people like it, they'll
Mm.
extend it further, but they're just going to start with the abilities.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's like it has like greater effectiveness too, like for damage resistance and stuff. So they're like really leaning into it to help give that play style more viability.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Be interesting because like obviously that suits the Void Titan more, or if they go into that whole like defense tank role. Um, but yeah, I mean, because that applies to your ability, it doesn't really matter. I guess you can be at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing that was weird about all the Titan changes to me though was they do all this effort to like, hey, we don't want it to just be about punching, and at the very end they're like, oh yeah, we buff punching. It's like what?
What is Titan?
Yeah, their unpowered melee got stronger.
20%.
Yeah. Which Salta Greppo kindly pointed out that a Strand grapple melee is an unpowered melee. And
It
so
is.
so the Banner Titan just got buffed, which is like the strongest thing in PvE for low man stuff. So kind of funny.
Got him. Any other changes of notes or?
They made certain things cheaper for Nightfall rewards. Like you can just get them easier. There's a new category for featured category.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious what that'll be. There's my main thing with all the loot talk I was talking about earlier is there is so much loot in the game and there's not a way to get it. Like anything that's past this season, past the current season we're in, it's just like impossible to get it. And I would love to see them put some old stuff in there that we can't get anymore. Even if they don't give it random rolls, just like let us have a way to get the old interesting stuff that used to be in the game. But they did let us get with Lost Sector rewards, and this is huge. Like me and Cool Guy are like the biggest advocates for this. Any new world drop, there was no way to get it. Like if there was some new
Yes.
gun, like you couldn't go find how to get it. And so anytime we made a video about it, we're like, if you happen to get it, here's a guide for it. But if you want to know how, just it might happen, it might not, which I know is a part of Destiny RNG. Like that's kind of fun, but it's also nice to have some way to go and get the stuff. And now, anytime there's new world drops, it will go in Lost Sectors first season, like the first season it's out or episode, whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be there. So
Episodes are going away after like
I
2
know
more
this is confusing.
episodes, so we don't need to switch to changing them calling them episodes.
Yeah.
Season will be back before we know it. I do like that though, because yeah, world drops were a nightmare to actually get and enjoy.
Thank goodness. But one more controversial thing.
Yes.
Yeah, this one's real big, and I hate this so much, honestly. So I'm curious to hear y'all's take. But they added in the season pinnacle grind back into the game, so it's like 10 light level more every episode that comes out, instead of just like last year it was the same. Once the new DLC came out, it was just that all year long, every
Yep.
season the same. Now every episode, or at least Revenant, they haven't said for sure they're keeping this, but for Revenant for sure it's going to go up by 10. And for me, I'm like, I just got all my gear maxed out finally, and it's about to reset next month, and I'm like, that's why I just don't even pay attention to it. I don't even care because I just want to play what's fun. I don't want to do this pinnacle grind. But I'm curious y'all's
Yeah.
take, because I know some people do like that. They want to chase something.
I think for any like returning player, I don't know if they're gonna love it because it's like, oh well, now I'm further behind. I'm not only do I not have like the guns or the armor or the whatever, I now have like a grind that I'm looking at.
Mm.
Yeah, I really don't know. I assume that it's being done because they want to give people a reason to play more. But I personally would not be super excited about it.
No, I never
Yeah, it
liked the
makes it harder to
pinnacle
come back.
grind rotation where it's like, okay, go play Gambit for an hour, go play this for an hour, go run strikes for an hour. Like that rotation of tasks to me always felt rough.
Well, they kind of got rid of that with the way the new Pathfinder works, and so it's not as bad,
No.
but maybe, and this is where that whole new Pathfinder system that they were showcasing before, where like they're cleaning up the way you have to like, a lot of times you get stuck and you do have to go play Gambit. They're cleaning it out to where like you can just play Crucible, you can just play Gambit, you can just play the thing you want to play, which I appreciate. So like maybe it'll feel different. I just have little faith that it will at this point, because I just hate the light level grind so much.
Yeah, it's one of those things like if you're in it and you're playing heaps of Destiny, it's something that's not going to bother you because you're going to get anyway. But it's more of like if you're more sporadic with your Destiny play, you're just kind of jumping in when there's new content, or just playing the story, which is like often what I did. The episode just like play the story when it drops, and then kind of put it down until the week after, then like this stuff's going to be like a barrier rather than something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's just yeah. And it's like with any game, like when it's new and fresh and you're playing heaps of it, like that, you enjoy those things. Like yeah, it's fun to make number go big. Like it's fun to like max everything out. It's just when you're not really in that level of investment that you start like finding it as a barrier.
Yeah.
And I assume that like they mention here that it's kind of for end game players, and I'm sure there's going to be players who are like, "Sweet, this gives me like a thing to do to break up my usual grind that I've been doing, and now I can go have something to do." But I think for me, it's like another barrier of getting back into Destiny. It's like, "Oh, there's another thing. I don't have like the resources to level up new guns or level up new armor, and now I have this." And like yeah, I think it just puts another thing of like, I can't be bothered.
Especially
guess,
if you're a
like
PvP player. Like, if you're an in-game PvE player, you don't have to be like, if you're like a little not max, like hardly any activity except for like a contest mode something is gonna be that. And even then I think everyone's capped at a certain thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter too much, like 10 light level. But 10 light level in Trials of Osiris, if you come back and try to quickly do a game and you're getting, one body 2 crit by a hand cannon all of a sudden, like that's a big difference in gameplay. So, and I don't know, maybe there's some particulars there. Maybe PvE players won't agree with that. But I feel like it's a world of difference in trials whenever my TTK is they have that much of an edge over me.
Yeah.
It makes it harder to come back and play with your friends.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so like I think the thing is your motivation for grinding light levels is dependent on the activity that you're doing, right? And yeah, so for me, logging in once a week to hear stories, I didn't need to be max light level, so I wasn't going to power level, wasn't going to really worry about that.
Yeah.
And then when you've got things like, well, we're going to be fairly far away from the next raid, which is things I enjoy, so I don't need it for that. Dungeons, who knows?
Contest mode dungeon.
Contest
But
mode
then it's
dungeon,
contest
so
mode, which makes it you don't need to
Exactly.
get to the max
Right.
level.
And then
It feels
normal
like this is out.
dungeons.
It feels like it's out just to get PvP players, honestly. Like that's what this I know it's meant for people who want something to do and like to grind, and get people involved, but it's specifically the people it punishes are people who want to casually play Trials of Osiris. That is the one group it is going to just not have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That is really the only thing that you need to be that max power for. So, well, I'd be curious what people think about it. So if you're listening to this, you can let us know on Twitter or the comments on YouTube. And I am curious about the overall thoughts about the increase in power.
Agreed.
Let us know.
That's about it for the 12. I don't think there's really anything else crazy other than the art show, which did have a ton
The
of really
art
cool
show
art.
looks really cool. Yeah, I'm glad they posted pictures because I would have really liked to have gone to one of these art shows. That like the first picture the first picture of some of the art with the ghost and the little creatures around it is really cool and really cute. Like it's all so good.
I wish that they would have done a close up on. There's one you can see it on the last picture if you're looking at it. It's in one of the glass cases. There's somebody posted on Twitter. It's a ghost shell that is like mutated to have Vex legs, and it's like crawling on the ground like a ghost shell with Vex legs. And you can't
sick.
see it well. You can't see it well. It's the very last picture before the Bungie Foundation stuff, but it's on the right side of the middle of the screen. It's very, very cool and close up.
Man. I mean, if you have pictures of the show, if you were there, please show me
Yeah.
all of it because
Right.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Stuff.
There's a TwitchCon emblem you can get if you're going to TwitchCon, which is happening right now. That's what. Well, it's September 20th to the 22nd, but a lot of people are obviously going there now because you don't want to arrive day of if you're traveling there.
Isn't that where our resident
Yep.
Quaff is?
That's where Frankie Two Times is.
Frankie Two
And
Times.
not playing Monster Hunter Wilds there, apparently. I said to him, you better be going there to play Monster Hunter Wilds.
He's like, what's that? Never heard of it.
Yeah. It's like, could I have maybe reached out to someone, or reach out to Fran? Maybe, but I'm going to need some kind of show that Fran wants it, okay?
You gotta earn it, Fran.
You gotta show me you want. Well, because he could have been there on our show with the Monster Hunter community devs. He could have had a little conversation after, like, hey, I'm going to TwitchCon. Are you guys doing anything there? Oh, right. Yeah. You want a time to stream Monster Hunter Wilds on your own channel? That sounds pretty cool.
What? Yes. You're making social interaction sound so easy. It ain't that easy.
It's easy for Fran.
Yeah,
He's
it's
more
easy
outgoing
for Fran
than all of us.
Yeah, put together.
I remember when we were at PAX, Briar, and we were at Dick's eating some Dick's around a trash can, and Fran was like, "Gonna go out and party, bye," and left us.
We're all like, "I'm so exhausted. I can't wait to go to bed. I've had so many dicks."
And 72-year-old Fran is like, "I'm ready to party it up."
Yeah, that was like the last stop of the night. It was late. I don't remember what time it was, but we had gone. Yeah, we had gone to the karaoke. We had gone for dinner. We had gone to karaoke. We had gone and got ice cream, and then was that the same night we got ice cream? And then we got Dick's.
It was.
Look, Dick's is a nightcap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's the place you go because nowhere else is. I mean, it's good too. Like, they may have good food, but that's the place that's open all the time. Nowhere else is open.
Not Fran though. Dick's is a starter for Fran.
Fast food, but it's so funny.
It was a starter for Fran. He's like, "I've had some Dick's. I'm ready to go out."
He didn't even eat the Dick's, really. He was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go." He got in a car with someone, I don't know, and went partying.
He might have come back later for Dick's. I don't know.
We might have.
Nice.
Nice.
That was a good.
So, everybody hates PlayStation, right? Like, everybody's real mad about this PlayStation Pro.
Yes and no. Yes and no. It's been a roller coaster over this
roller coaster of emotion. Look, we don't like your white basic ass PlayStation Pro, but you make a gray one.
Yep.
Now we're talking.
PlayStation showed off.
You have my attention.
Limited edition PlayStation 5 Pro that is going to be not only in the classic gray color, which you can conveniently see behind Mylan. It's right there. Look at that. That classic PlayStation color.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's also got the classic logo, color of the buttons. It's got an Edge controller with that same layout, and it's got a very old school controller adapter, which it's really cool.
Let's face it, they nailed the design first time round. They didn't need to update it. This is good.
It is good.
Yeah,
it's very nostalgic.
The little slats on the side of the PS5 Pro, there's an engraving that says which number of the 12,300 you have.
Ooh.
That's the only kind of bummer about it, is that it's so limited a release.
It is very limited.
They did the same thing with the PlayStation 4, and it was like wildly popular. Like, people were going crazy for it. But again, it was such a limited release. Like, I think you can get the controllers pretty easily, but it was pretty hard to get.
Yeah, you'll be able to get these controllers separately too.
There hasn't been that many special editions of the PlayStation 5, has there? I mean, they've had special edition boxes that have had like games included.
Of box, it also comes in a box that looks the same as the PS1 box that it came in.
You've gone too far, Tony.
The box looks cool.
Far. The boxes look good.
Well, this is why everyone on social media is now like, well, maybe I could get a PS5 for probably, I don't even know how much it's going to be, but more expensive than the $700 people are upset about.
Only 12,000 units worldwide. 12,300
That's
worldwide.
not many.
How much do you think these things will be on eBay? Because that's where you're going to be able to buy one. You'll never be able to get this like, through official mines.
$70,000.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that if they took out the limited and they just actually went all out, just produced as many as were demanded, do you think that PS5 Pro sales would see a significant jump? Like, are there that many people that would be that interested in this?
I do think so. I don't know if they'd ever want to do it just like unlimited, like this is what it looks like now, or now there's 2 SKUs, there's a white one and a gray one.
Yeah.
But like if they said like more than 1,200, like maybe like I don't know 60,000 or something like that, I think there'd be a pretty big boost in sales for that.
Think so. It looks really good. It just looks really good in general.
Yeah,
like it's it's very good looking. And
nostalgia is a powerful drug.
Look at Astrobot. Astrobot is like full of nostalgia, and people were like, "Oh my god, look! I found Bloodborne. I found, So I think it would do really, really well.
I do too.
Yeah, I feel like this should have been the PlayStation 5 Pro announcement. It should have just been.
Imagine if they did that. Yeah. Oh my god!
This is what the Pro looks like. The Pro looks like nostalgia. I think
that's how you'll know that someone's got a Pro, because it looks like this.
Yeah, I think that would have been good.
The funny thing is, you've been able to buy gray PlayStation like side plates pretty much forever. Like,
does my home button look like the old school logo?
No, ma'am, it does not.
Here's the question: does the load screen look the same as they should do that?
They should do the old school one.
Cool.
That would be very
cool. As it loads in. Yeah.
I don't know though. I don't know. I really want that Astrobot controller with the eyeballs. I don't know that I'd rather have the Astrobot one or the gray one. They're both cool, but I think I'd rather have the Astrobot one.
I think my issue with like the limited stuff is you're just gonna get bots and people buying them and reselling them. Like that's so annoying.
Definitely. Yeah. Unless they do something to crack down on it, like probably most of those are gonna
Sony's not that company.
No.
They haven't figured that out yet. I mean, that's I think part of the backlash of why people are kind of upset with the PlayStation Pro is that the PlayStation 5 has not been available like readily for that long. It came out a while ago, but it was completely ungettable for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even then, it was like, maybe you can get one easy. Maybe you gotta, if you look around, you could probably get one. But now it's pretty easy to get. But there was a long time where it was difficult to get. It's a slow adoption this time around. Plus, it was COVID. Like, it was it's been a weird console generation. I still don't think that the PlayStation 5 Pro is as necessary as the 4 Pro was. It just doesn't, like, Sony feels a little bit tone deaf to me right now, which is not encouraging. Like, the PlayStation VR 2 headset, I don't think really, like, showed, like, a whole lot of, like them reading the market real well. And I think the Pro is kind of a similar situation. It's like, it worked last time. People loved it. I think the details on it was Fran saying like 17% of people actually upgraded to the PlayStation 4 Pro. I think the number's going to be lower this time.
I definitely had a Pro. I was mostly playing on PS4 at that point.
Yeah.
Was I when the Pro was out? No.
The PlayStation 4 Pro? Definitely
PlayStation 4 Pro. I don't think when I upgraded I was.
You definitely were. Was that? Because Destiny came out at the beginning of the PlayStation 4's life cycle. PlayStation 4 Pro. Yeah, that was like an early PlayStation 4 game. I know, it's hard to think that far back.
It came out in 2016.
The Pro did?
So the Pro did, yeah.
And when did Destiny 2 come out? 2013? 2014?
Destiny 2.
Destiny 1. My bad. Destiny 1.
Oh, Destiny 1 was 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
It's been so
long. The PS4 came out in 2013.
2013. Yeah, it was an early PlayStation 4 game.
Yeah.
And Xbox. It's been a long road, friends. I feel very old right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so now people want to buy a PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
But what they've been showing for like they've been using Final Fantasy VII Rebirth performance mode on the PS5 to show the difference on the Pro. And I'm like, that's because that is the worst performance mode ever done for any game on any system that has ever existed. It is so bad. It is the only game that I'm like, I cannot play on performance mode because it's so bad that you could be like maybe a foot away from a door in the game that will have like, say, exit on it. You will not be able to see it say exit on performance mode. The writing does not exist and it will pop in as you step a little bit closer. The cutscenes look terrible. It's awful. It's really bad.
What happened to Square Enix? They used to be like top of the line technical prowess, and they have really lost those lofty heights over the last few years. They
have, yeah. Because like the Final Fantasy 16, it was 60 FPS in combat, but 30 when you're exploring, which I'm glad they did that because I think they really needed to with that kind of combat
too, right? Like it
yeah,
worked.
you at least when you're doing the thing that's really important for how the game feels, it's running at a higher frame rate.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, it was rough playing through Rebirth because my eyes never got used to it. It feels like I can see like I don't know what you call it, after images of the characters constantly if it's on 30 FPS. It's awful.
Like ghosting.
Have they said
yeah,
or do y'all have they said or do y'all think that the PS5 Pro, like, are they still going to be doing that on all these games where it's like, you still got to pick and choose what frame rate you want versus higher quality video?
I think they haven't said a ton about the thing yet, but I think what Mark Cerny kind of implied was that the quality mode is going to be like run as good as performance mode. But they're gonna have to update the games to do this.
Right. That's why they have a list of like PS5 Pro enhanced games that are already
like new
ready.
games that come out. Yeah.
I guess it would be per developer basis, right? If they're like, yeah, we want to enhance it for the Pro.
Yeah.
I'm asking because it feels like it's become an industry standard to be able to split between the two like this. Whereas before, I feel like it wasn't. Like it was just like this is the way your game is, and it looks this good, and this is what it is. And now that they're like, oh, well, we could split it, and like if you want it to look good versus you want to play good, and it's like I just want to play the game the way I'm supposed to play it. You know, it's almost like I don't even want that choice. I just want you to make it the best it can be for what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It is like we said before, it's like it's a lot of money to pay if you can't guarantee that I'm getting a higher frame rate if I'm still playing at 30 and I just spent another $700. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Like it worked. The PlayStation 4 worked great on some games last year. I remember God of War looked amazing on a PlayStation 4 Pro. Like it really it stepped up the bar. But also like PlayStation 4 Pro brought other things. It brought 4K compatibility where people were getting new 4K TVs into their house. Nobody's buying 8K TVs. In fact, I feel like 8K TVs have almost been abandoned, like 3D TVs by manufacturers. I'm sure that you can still get one, but I don't hear nobody I know is getting them. Everybody's like going up to OLED, and like that's kind of where it's sitting right now. So
people haven't even upgraded to 1440p.
And the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox 3 were both just kind of underpowered when they came out. You know what I mean? Like they just didn't feel like they didn't feel like hugely powerful. Like, so to like go into a TV generation where everybody's moving from 1080p to 4K and they were already kind of running kind of like dogs, like it made sense to upgrade those mid-cycle just so, to kind of keep up. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel like that this time around. I wish Fran was here because I know he's really hype on this thing. He's really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So he'd be the...
Fran is good.
But it just doesn't feel good this time.
Yeah. Can I bring you some breaking Monster Hunter news?
Literally
tweeted less than a minute ago.
Is it the release date?
No. But we might be getting it soon. So the Monster Hunter Wilds dev team will debut the world's first Scarlet Forest gameplay at Tokyo Game Show, which is their next biome with the spider that we saw in one of the trailers. So you're going to be able to join them for a watch party on September 27th at 9 p.m. Pacific. Adjust your time frame accordingly.
That's
okay.
you're
That's a
gonna be
midnight.
Either way.
Copy that.
Hey, that's not bad. Wait, 9 p.m. is midnight? No, it's not.
Is it? Didn't we do
No.
10? Didn't we? Oh, sorry, we did 10 a.m. Didn't we?
10 a.m. 9 p.m. is prime streaming times for you.
That's good. Let's go. Yeah, Tokyo. Yeah, because that's a good time zone for me. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have this is we knew that Capcom was going to Tokyo Game Show with Monster Hunter, but up until this tweet, we actually didn't know what their plans are for there at all, besides, Japan being able to play it for the first time. So this is like confirmation that they're actually showing something new, which makes me go, maybe we get a release date. It's in Japan, you're a Japanese company, you're excited.
Yeah. And they looked very guilty when you asked them about the Japanese show. They're like, can't say anything. This is fine.
I will definitely stream that live. That's a reasonable time for me.
Do you guys think, like, I really believe that we're going to get like a demo similar to what we got for World, like before they release the game, right?
They do it for like all their games.
Yeah, and like considering that they've basically got one out that they're showing everybody, like it seems like a no-brainer. Do you guys think that demo comes out this year?
Could be December. So it depends because the demos for
late December,
like
maybe.
World launched in January. The demo was in December. Rise launched in March, late March, I think, but the demo was also in March. So it seems like they're doing about a month before the release date. So if it's coming out in January, we could have the demo in December. But if it's not, then we'll probably be waiting until January or February. We told them they have until March, otherwise we're writing an angry letter. So
I mean, I didn't really mean it though.
We won't survive if it's longer, Capcom. Okay, lives are depending.
Literally, Destiny content creators are dying.
I will remember you.
Here's a fun bet. When do you think Destiny content creators who haven't really been into Monster Hunter before start jumping on the Monster Hunter train?
It's such a natural transition. I feel like
it is. Yeah,
absolutely. Like,
it is.
I mean, if you generally don't like that game, then like, don't torture yourself. But it's just such a easy transition. Like you got the loot, you got like the persistent world, you got like all sorts of kind of similar stuff. You got a similar community. How many people do you know that play both of those games? Tons of people.
Yeah.
Maybe
I opened up my Steam game, and what does it say here? September 15th. My name is Bife achieved. It has his achievements. Play for the first time. Logged in.
How much time do you spend thinking about My Name is Bife?
I try not to, but he keeps popping back up in my life.
It's because Mylan's like, I'm gonna switch to this game and make content, and he's like, "There's Bife.
Bife's already there.
Again. God damn it!"
Bife's just like, "Hey, Mylan."
Oh, you're here too, Mylan? What are you doing here? You gonna do some lore?
There needs to be like a Halloween like horror movie version of that, like an in-person, like walking into the different gaming rooms and zoom in.
Bife turns around slowly, smirking, glancing over his glasses.
He's like, I've already got an hour video prior.
Anyway, that's funny.
But I think, look, the thing about Monster Hunter, and I think Monster Hunter Wilds, I always get this confused because like World, Wilds, and then Rise.
That's all very similar. Yeah.
The new one, I think, will get rid of some of the barricades of the old one because I'm on my like third time of trying to play Monster Hunter, and this is probably the time it's actually stuck with me. Because it does take a little bit of time to really have like the weapon ability soak in and
totally
just get better at the game. Like it is one of those classics. Oh, you need to play like 20 hours and then it gets better. Because at the beginning, it's very easy to be put off by the combat and be like, I don't get it. I'm just keep getting knocked over and these weapons aren't working. And then when it clicks, it clicks. but I actually think it's going to click faster for people in Wilds because of how they've done that focus system. I think it's going to be a really and how you can help choose a weapon as well. I think some of the onboarding for Wilds is going to get people into it a lot quicker, and I think some of the issues with World has probably been addressed. So
I mean, World was so much easier than previous games. It was like
previous games were very tough to get into.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
They didn't even attempt to like onboard you really. Because World was like, you kind of have to think of World as being almost like their redoing of Monster Hunter. It's like we're doing things different with the story. We're doing different with how we introduce you to the different biomes and the different monsters. So it was really kind of a re-release of Monster Hunter. Almost.
I remember playing one of them on the DS, and you had to like you'd be fighting a monster, and if you didn't, I can't remember the name of the tool. It was like a glowworm or something. If you didn't stick them with that thing,
the paintballs.
The paintball. The monster would take off. It was not like a seamless world that you ran around in. It was like loading screens between like small areas. Oh. So you would lose that monster like so easily because
you had to make sure you had them paintballed.
Yeah, you might have to go through like 3 loading screens while you're chasing this monster on your fucking DS.
And by that time, I forgot where the hell I was thinking of going.
I forgot what game I was playing. Like, what am I doing? Where am I?
You know, from an outside perspective, I feel like one of the biggest things that's going to draw people in isn't necessarily like a change they make in the game for new players, but how much current players or the people who do play are enjoying it and talk about enjoying it online, because we're at this state right now, specifically coming from like the Destiny community where like there isn't much happening or like things don't look great. And so those people who are on the fence about other games, if they see the Monster Hunter community excited about something, it doesn't really matter what the experience is like for like bringing them in. They're going to want to join in on that fun. It's the fun that is going to
like the zeitgeist has kind of started to form and move, and like it's hard not to get caught up in it.
This is a franchise that's been going for 20 years and people are excited about it. So
yeah, but didn't really catch on here until World, right? Didn't. World was the big breakthrough here.
It's because they did a bunch of like, we're only releasing this in Japan, and it's like, 5 years later, now it's in North America, and then it's like, well, we're not releasing this one in North America. It was really weird until.
And it wasn't on home consoles; it was always on mobile, right?
It was always on, some kind of like portable device. So World was like the first one that was like, we're releasing worldwide at the same time on consoles. So it's.
But not on PC, motherfuckers.
And then Rise. This is what I was saying about kind of Japanese developers and Japanese creatives in general. I think they just don't seem to know that people outside of Japan really love their stuff, because when Rise came out, they were like, they had no plan to release it on PC. They're like, we didn't know you guys wanted this. And then they released it on PC. And you see that with like a bunch of stuff. It's always just like, wow, you know about this? That's crazy. I kind of experienced that when I went to the Creepy Nuts concert in Japan, because I know it's not really a worldwide group at that point. It is now, but when I went, it wasn't. Well, it's more so now. So everyone's just like, well, you're here? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's, they're realizing now, and man, those developers are always so excited to meet everyone and see people enjoying stuff. You should love to see it.
That's great.
It feels like if World was kind of like perfecting all those lessons they had over the last however many years and like releasing to the world, I feel like Wilds is just going to go to that next level of just like perfecting worlds. Like it's more of an open world and more of a seamless experience now. And you've got onboarding things that make it a little bit easier. You've got like shortcut, like all the little things. Like now it's like minor adjustment, or kind of minor adjustments, but still like major content. I don't know. Like, the quick menu to apply a health buff and like debuffs and stuff like that. Like that's something as like a new player to Monster Hunter that took a while for me to start opening my radial menu or like scrolling through my things to like get. Like those little things feel like they've like perfected the onboarding experience, and then like just gone to the next level with like, more of a seamless world as well.
They're going all out with the story too. because that's always been a thing. It was like everyone's like, so what's the story like for people who like story games? And we're all just like,
Yeah.
don't talk about it. Don't look at me. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. It's fine.
World had a story, kind of.
It's not a strong point.
It's
No,
like
it's not.
how Breyer thinks of fries. Fries are simply a way to get tomato ketchup in your mouth. The story of Monster Hunter is a way for you to go hunt monsters.
A
And that is
vehicle for ketchup.
And they didn't really have good set pieces, I felt, in World. Like there was still like, you know, the what's it called? The big
Zora
lava.
Magdaros.
Yeah, like fighting him, like I despise those missions nearly every time.
Me too.
And it's like that should be a good set piece. Like the campaign should have, like, you're fighting monsters. There should be wicked set pieces for Monster Hunter, and like in World, it was a bit of a slog. So
Yeah, the game starts with like 7 minutes of a story kind of introducing you to the world section, which I skipped, so I don't actually know what it's like. I'm not watching that till the day it's in my palms. But yeah, it's looking great.
It's funny how like you were saying, like how games just kind of grab everybody, right? It's like some games just come along and like Witcher 3 was one of those games where, like, even if you'd never heard of The Witcher before, it just seemed like there's so much hype around it that it just kind of grabbed everybody. And Cyberpunk did that. I feel like Space Marine 2 just did that. Yeah, Elden Ring did that.
Space Marine, Helldivers.
Helldivers, it came out and grabbed everybody. Like that, nobody was tracking Helldivers release date, right?
Oh, it was pretty unknown, I think.
Yeah, it was. So there were some people that were excited about it. Yeah, but I think it came out and everyone was like, "Ooh, I want to try this."
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have a huge like hype train before the drop. Like it was definitely left field for how good it was when it first came out.
I love when games do that. Like when Apex dropped, like literally zero anticipation.
Yeah.
It's just not possible for so many studios right now. Like Bungie, for instance. Like they can't just like work on Marathon and then just drop it all of a sudden, like on people, because everybody's anticipating what's going to happen with Destiny. But it's so cool when a studio can do that.
Yeah.
May I talk about a game?
Mm-hmm.
A teeny game. A Mamma Mia pizza pie game. Which we had an Italian come into chat. I asked if I was being offensive by constantly singing, "When the boo hits your eye
like a big pizza pie."
They said no, so I'm in the clear.
Good.
Yep. I mean, the game has. So the game is called Enotria: The Last Song. It's by Italian devs. It's an Italian Souls-like. And they even like they have items in the game that's like pesto, which they have Italian food in the. You can buy a pizza for 100,000 in-game money. I don't know what's up with that right now, but
times are tough. Like, inflation's going crazy up in Enotria.
Yeah, pizza, pesto, yeah, all sorts of Italian
That's
stuff.
my kind of game.
So this is like a straight Souls-like. It's not Souls inspired. It's not Souls light. It is a Souls-like. They have the map design, like the level design of a Souls-like, where you go around and you get in shortcuts. You got all that. You've got the bonfires. You got the combat, all that stuff.
Okay.
And the demo, they had a demo a little while ago. And when I played it, I was like, I really love the ideas that they have, because they have this really cool system where you get masks, because you're called the maskless one, which I guess is kind of like being maidenless, but you're basically just like a doll. You don't have it. You're just an unfinished doll. And then you get these masks that give you different perks, essentially. So you can create entire builds around these masks. And you can also switch between them and change your whole loadout between 3 different loadouts. I was like, that's really cool. And then they also have a system where you're unlocking abilities and you can equip different abilities. There's, of course, a bunch of weapons. So there's a ton of ways that you can customize your playstyle in this game. But as I was playing, I was like, the camera's a little weird. It's doing this thing where, you know how a lot of games like to reset your camera to be behind your character? It was kind of like jerking a little bit when it did that, and I was like, nah, that's not good. And then I had an issue where the camera angle, sometimes it felt like my head was just blocking the enemy. I was like, that's not good. But all of those issues are not there for me anymore.
That's good.
They've made a big improvement from the demo, and I've been really enjoying it. You know, there's not many of these Souls likes that come along where I'm like, this is actually, I really like this. So yeah, I've had a really good time with it.
What's the difficulty scale like?
I would say it's pretty easy. It's on the easier side.
Mm-hmm.
The demo was really friggin' hard. The demo was really hard. But they have made it a little bit easier. But they do have quite large difficulty spikes, like a boss that I'm doing right now. I think most people have skipped this boss because it's an optional boss. But they have said in an update that they're going to make them easier. So yeah, I think I like to compare it to, not that it's like Neo in any way, but the way that Neo's difficulty is like, you start the game, you have no build, you don't know what's going on, you're not taking advantage of like any of the stuff that you have, so it's really difficult. But then as you go on, you start getting builds and stuff, and then it becomes easier because you've made a build. So it kind of feels like that.
Game.
You open to sunflowers. It's very bright. It's a very
can
bright
you change your like mask and loadout like mid-fight?
Yes.
That's sick.
Yep, sure can. It's got a lot of really cool ideas. I think people were upset about the length of the game, and the developers came out and said, yeah, listen, if you're beelining it, if you're doing the golden path, it's going to be like 15 hours. But if you're wanting to find like if you're wanting to find like all the masks, you're wanting to find like all of the bosses even, then it's going to be closer to like 30, 40-ish. I was like, I feel like
I got
like
little plastic men to paint over here. I don't got time for 30 hours.
I'm currently at 12.7 hours, although I have been on this one boss for a while. Maybe 2 hours.
A while. 2 hours? That's okay.
I think about 2 hours. And I would say I'm probably a little over half. So that probably works out to, about like 25, 30.
Are you streaming this game?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I really like it. I think it's fun. I think if you are a fan of Souls-likes, I think that these guys get it, and they've also added some really interesting systems on top of it.
I think that are you going to continue on this boss fight tomorrow?
Yes.
I think you need to pledge that you'll buy a pizza after you buy the boss fight, but every time you die, chat gets to add one topping to your pizza.
Oh my god. The pizza place is not going to deliver the pizza to me. They're like, we're not making this.
Once you run out of toppings, you just start hitting double meat, triple meat.
That's true, yeah. No, extra cheese, extra tomato, extra cheese. Oh, this reminded me actually, because today is the 1-year anniversary of Lies of P.
Any news on it?
Yes, there was some news. There was a director's letter that said, essentially, like, we don't have news on when the DLC is going to be, but we are actively making the DLC as well as the next game to come after Lies of P. They're going to have more news about it very, very soon, and they gave us another image from the DLC. So a brand new image from it, which kind of has like I would say it's like a lighthouse in the background. And one of the other images we've had of the game is like a ship. So it seems like it's kind of sea themed somewhere. Maybe Ariel. I don't know. And they also gave us a new song from the DLC. And like the music in Lies of P was awesome. So that was good to see. Yeah, I'm saying maybe Tokyo Game Show. Maybe Tokyo Game Show. You know, they're a Korean dev studio. Maybe.
I don't want them to rush that game, but hurry the fuck up because I really want more of that game.
I mean, they did say, Briar, you'll be happy to know. They said, we'll get back to work for now, but when we return, we hope to turn your anticipation into delight.
Yeah, I'm so interested in the way that game ended, which I don't want to spoil for anybody who doesn't play it, but it could go in so many different directions.
Oh my God.
Kind of like fairy tales like different fairy tales and stuff. And like I don't know if
Yeah.
they do that with the DLC necessarily, but like with the sequel, like who knows where they'll go, right?
We kind of know where they're going with the sequel, which I still can't talk about because Fran's gonna play it one day apparently. Can't talk about Elden Ring, can't talk about Liza, but can't talk about anything.
You know, I fell off of Elden Ring. I was really surprised. The Elden Ring DLC. I beat Mephisto, and then I went to there's kind of like this area where you're like wandering around in this forest, and kind of like some of your abilities don't work, and there's these like psychic guys that if they you have to sneak around. If they find you, they'll like grab you and kill you immediately.
Kill those bitches.
What's that?
Kill them.
Oh, okay.
You know.
And then I got
to worry about it.
I got to a mansion in there, and then I cleared that mansion out, and I killed the boss. And I don't know, like that the DLC did not grab me the way the main game did. Like the world doesn't seem as like organic and as fun to explore. Like you really have to be like real careful about which way you want to go to like get to different places on the map. Like it seems like there's like this central area, and then you gotta like, okay, I gotta stick narrowly to this river and then take a right here. Like it doesn't like in the main game, it felt like you were just like kind of wandering around and like the game would just happen to you. Whereas this game, the sequel feels like much more like you got to be much more deliberate, and like the upgrade path that didn't really do anything for me. Where you just got to like kind of find these like. I can't remember what they're called. Watts, do you remember what the upgrades are called?
Scatter tree fragments.
Yeah, like
or I guess they're skidoo tree.
Like in the main game, I feel like I'm just getting more powerful by playing the game and like bringing my souls back and like just leveling up. Whereas this feels a little like more rigid, where I just got to like kind of randomly find these things. I ended up looking at a guide to like where are these things. I don't want to like just miss any, and I don't know, like it just didn't quite have the magic of the first game to me.
I can see what you mean about exploring. It did feel like I missed a lot of stuff, even if I was like really looking for it. But I think the DLC overall grabbed me maybe more than the main game because the story was so good, and the bosses were like, I loved the bosses so much. I think at the end of Elden Ring, I felt as this was me exploring, trying to do everything. I found the end of the game really easy.
Yeah,
so
it was.
the DLC was nice to be on a boss for a little bit. Although Mesmer was too easy. Buff that man. He's like the best. I love his fight so much.
I think I just read a patch note that they just nerfed the last boss.
The final boss. They did. Yeah, they did indeed.
I've been playing Contra Operation Galuga. It's a new Contra game. It's a 2D side-scrolling game. If you remember Contra, on the NES, it's like a new version of that game. It came out in March of 2024, but I ordered like a physical copy, and it took all this time to get here. It just showed up the other day. I threw up my Switch, and man, like I go online, and this has like very positive Steam reviews. It's got very good reviews from outlets. I booted this thing up, and there is such a huge amount of input lag in this game that I'm like, I spat it out of my mouth like it was like fucking arsenic. I couldn't believe this game was like this bad.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Like the jump button, like I feel like you hit like button, jump, button, jump. You know what I mean? It was like that big a delay. Like hit the fire button, it's like button, fire, button. Like it was like a second. I was like so surprised by how much input delay there was to this. And Contra is like a fast action game, right? It's like you want to be moving, and double jumping, and getting out of the way of bullets, and like it essentially plays like the original game with like a kind of 2.5D graphical style. It looks great, actually. Like it looks really nice on the Switch. But man, I was really disappointed by this one. I got to like maybe the third level in the course of like an hour, and I didn't want to play it anymore.
On the Switch?
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, on the Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a PC version. I wonder if the PC version has less input delay. That's a thing that could be. But I'm not going to buy another copy of it.
Yeah.
When I first started using the PlayStation, I noticed the input delay, but it was to do with like the settings and it not using like the wide connection over like the Bluetooth. But it was like super noticeable if you go from like PC with a controller to like the PlayStation controller. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I feel like I'm just a fraction behind everything. And then once I fixed that, it was fine. But on Switch, you should have no issue with input.
Yeah, I was playing in handheld mode too, so it's like,
yeah,
it's not like I was dealing with like display chain latency. I was sorely disappointed with this game because I like Contra, not as much as I like Castlevania.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Damn.
What? Have you got a chance to play Still Wakes the Deep?
I have not. No.
Oh yeah,
it is wonderful.
Yeah, is it? How scary is it, Lego?
Yeah.
There are a few scenes. There was definitely at least one scene that was like made me feel a little bit like the baby trying to eat you in Resident Evil scene.
That's when I decided no babies.
Yeah,
no babies.
Yeah.
That was the moment. I was like, no, I'm good.
We're not doing babies around here.
Nope.
Yeah. So, but for the most part, it's a little more chill. It reminds me it was reminding me of something like kind of like The Thing meets. Oh, there was something else that it was like, and I thought it was perfect earlier, but I can't remember. But yeah, it's pretty wild. There's something because it's kind of like survival-ish.
Like, oh fuck you! This game is horrifying looking.
It's the way. Oh man, yeah, it's pretty good. I think that it's like a really interesting creature design. Oh, it's like what's the one with the armor that goes over? You got to shoot all the dead alien things in space. Dead Space. Dead alien. Dead Space. So it's like The Thing meets Dead Space, kind of, but on an oil rig. Yeah. But gameplay wise, nothing like Dead Space. Just like the feel of it feels that way. Gameplay wise, it is a lot like those sections of Resident Evil where you're walking through and you're kind of more observer, kind of like Alien Isolation ish. But maybe not as claustrophobic. So yeah, it's good. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really looking forward to finishing it when I have time. But I'm about halfway through and it's fun.
I will be playing it. Fun? I don't know.
Fun for everybody else, maybe.
Lovecraftian stuff? Do you like
Lovecraftian
stuff?
I do.
Okay, because it feels very heavy on those themes, which is on brand for that game studio. Like
right. I'll get some enjoyment out of it then. I'll be terrified and panicking and be like, "Ooh, cool."
It's amazing reviews.
It's more involved than say like Everyone Goes to the Rapture, which I think they did that one. Because that one's more like you're kind of more observing. This one you got to do stuff for sure. But it's not like a shoot 'em up or anything like that. It's more like survive.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm excited for you to try it out.
I will be playing it. I'm glad it's good though. I'm glad it's a good scary game. Like people are really, really happy about it. So at least it's not. I'm playing something that's scaring me and it plays awfully and it's terrible.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
The story definitely keeps you going. Like it's one of those things where I'm playing like late at night, the whole family's asleep. I'm not streaming, so I can't like talk to anybody. And I'm like, I don't necessarily want to play this next part, but the story's so good. I want to like know what happens next. So you just keep going. So I think the story is really what keeps you moving on it.
I do love a good story.
And there's some great Scottish accents throughout.
Oh,
which
good.
Kind of makes the game, honestly.
We don't get a lot of those because for some reason Scottish people are not available. I don't know.
It's really good, yeah.
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yes, probably.
I'm as usual unprepared. There we go. Okay.
Right, I'm ready. I'm not ready. Why did you say yes? You should have said no.
Zabe says, in a future where Destiny is no more, what will you call the podcast? DCP.
DCP. What does it stand for?
I don't
know. Doing cool podcast. That's what it means.
That's canon now. That's what DCP
Dick's
now
Community
stands for.
Podcast. That's an option.
Oh,
Dick's Community
DCP,
Podcast.
yep.
Don't know
We
how many
just
sponsors you
talk
could
about
get
eating
with
dicks on garbage cans.
that.
Blandon McBlanderson says, if you were driving down a lonely road in Australia and you saw two koalas having a knockdown, drag-out fight, would you keep going or stop to watch? You can assume that it's a fight for dominance and not to the death. If you wouldn't stop, is there a species you would stop for? Dude, of course I'm stopping. I'm pulling up my phone. I'm definitely stopping to watch two koalas have a knockdown, drag-out.
I'm gonna yell, "Stop it! Stop it right now!" And then I'll leave.
Then you're gonna get mauled by koalas and get chlamydia.
No, I'll put the window up just for a sec, just a little small opening of a window. Stop that. Choose friendship. And I'll close the window.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch that.
Yeah, stop and watch. Don't roll down window.
Yeah. Maybe make some bets, like who's gonna win this?
You could turn on the live stream, Briar, and start taking bets. Live stream
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question for Mylan, a related question. Have you seen a rash of kangaroo fight videos over the last few years? Where dudes will just start fighting koalas for whatever reason?
No, but when I was in the car yesterday on the radio, someone was talking about their friend, because kangaroos got on their tail and they kick you. Well, the kangaroo, they got claws on their little feet. Caught his nutsack.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
And ripped it open. There you go.
Oh my God. Well, there's a free vasectomy, I guess.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Same amount of time, more pain.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry. There was no way to deliver that without just getting straight into it. Does that answer your question? Yeah, honestly, don't fuck with kangaroos because when they do kick you, they can cut open your stomach and stuff. They got obviously tremendous power in their legs, and if their nail catches you, their claws catch you, you'll know about it. And especially if you hit you in the balls.
I'm pretty sure that's just Elon's algorithm showing you kangaroos fighting constantly.
Show me things I want to see.
Or don't want to see. It's always way more aggressive than you want it. You're like, what is this?
Anytime I see a video on Elon Musk's Twitter, I scroll past immediately because it used to just be like, oh, there's kids fighting in a school, but now it's like, oh, the kid's dead and the other kid's in prison and the other kids are eating the other kid. It's the most extreme video. I gotta go fast.
Oh
but the good news is that the algorithm can change quite quickly. I think I liked 2 Lies of P anniversary video pictures, and my whole feed is Lies of P artwork. I was like, oh,
nice.
Thank God.
Perfect.
Scroll past the videos really fast. Go quickly.
Reddit's the worst one for me because it doesn't even seem like you got to click on anything. It just knows that you paused on something.
They all do. They all know. Yeah.
For a solid couple of months, I was just getting snake videos. Snakes sneaking into houses and getting into people's beds and shit. I was like, why are you showing me this? It's giving me nightmares. I hate it. But then I found that you can don't show me any more stuff like this. So it didn't change that dramatically. It just said, oh, we're just gonna show you lizards now. I'm like, what the fuck? So I quit Reddit.
Yeah. You have to be so intentional about what you're looking at, because even if you see something you're like, oh, what's that, and it happens to be something that you don't want on your feed forever, you looked at it for 5 seconds, therefore this is what you want forever. It's very annoying.
It's so true.
It's very annoying. I said it before, but if you're on like anything and you watch animal videos, they start with the cute stuff, and then eventually they start showing you my cat is dying. Here's a very
Yes.
gruesome picture of my cat. Donate to me, and I'm like, I just can't be randomly on social media and see your cat
Right.
dying. I can't do it.
Agreed.
Yes. Political stuff is even worse too, because you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
I'll sit on a video because I'm like, this is so ridiculous. This is so dumb that this person's talking about this, and then it shows me all their stuff, and I'm like, no, I am not supporting you. I'm laughing at you. Like
Yeah.
this is dumb.
That's
You
actually
need to
that's
hack
the one
into
that
my
gets me on
camera
YouTube.
to capture my face.
I'll watch a video of somebody making fun of a politician, like
Mm,
literally
yep.
just like, and then I start getting like just like video after video of that politician doing press conference. I'm like, no, I don't want to watch. It was fun to watch this person be made fun of and like shamed publicly. That was hilarious. But I don't want to. I don't want to actually watch this person. I don't want to engage with this person.
Yep.
Toby says, "Hey DCP crew, been considering buying a Steam Deck. Wanted to get all your opinions on the deck. Pros versus cons. Is the OLED worth the extra money? Thanks and love the podcast."
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I like my Steam Deck a lot. I do not have an OLED, so I can't really talk about if it's worth upgrading to it, but the Steam Deck I think it's really good. I mean, so if you have a PC that you can play a lot of games on, you may not use it as much potentially, so that's something you want to think about. But I know a lot of people who like their PC access is their Steam Deck and they love it. They play everything on it. They're having a blast. But yeah, it's really really good for I'd use it for like Kunitsugami. I want to keep playing that game. Maybe I don't necessarily want to stream it, but I want to sit on the couch and like keep playing that game. And I use it for indie games a lot.
Yeah, it's great.
And you know
for
what? One of
indie
the best
games.
things actually, Monster Hunter Rise, I used the Steam Deck a lot because it came to PC. So I could play it on my PC when I wanted to, but then I could also play it on my Steam Deck, and it's a portable Monster Hunter, so it worked.
Right.
That worked really.
I bet it
really
runs
well.
way better than it does on the Switch. Too.
It does. It definitely does.
I mean, the Steam Deck is way more powerful.
Yeah, that was great. The podcast is dying. I don't know. We talked about kangaroos. They have infected all of us. Our time is near.
Sorry, I got a little. I could completely agree with what you said about the Steam Deck. I think, to me, it's it's even better because I have a PC, so it's like I could just kind of move that game save back and forth, like which Steam does automatically. And yes, the OLED is worth the extra price. OLED on any device is worth the extra price, in my opinion. I don't want any LCD screens in front of me anymore.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
really like
quality. It. I'm really glad about what Briar said earlier too, about like companies moving away from 8K stuff and just focusing on the OLED and just like better displays rather than just higher resolution that is never going to make a difference in any viewing environment.
Yeah, faster displays too. It's like my TV, my TV in my living room does 120 hertz at 4K. has what is it called? The VRR, the variable refresh rate. Like it's amazing.
Yep.
Like it has low latency. It's like TVs are now awesome gaming monitors, which was not the case before.
No.
But yeah, OLED is fantastic. The inky blacks you get from OLED is just unbelievable. Also, the motion clarity you get is much better than on an LCD, where you don't get that like kind of blurring effect. If you're using it in a dark room too, your significant other may really appreciate that you got the OLED because there's as much like light just blasting the room. OLED is always worth it.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is genuinely good. It's also like it's really comfortable to hold. I found that like my hands never really got tired or painful or anything that can happen with a lot of those kind of portable ones.
Yeah,
it's good.
It is heavy.
It's good. It is heavy. Yeah, it is heavy, but a lot more comfortable than like the Switch, for example.
Yeah, I have like big old hand grips for my Switch to make it more like the Steam Deck.
That's nice.
Yeah, and the Steam Deck does have paddles on the back. I think that's probably why it is a little bit more comfortable because you can just have your hands in like the most comfortable position. You don't have to keep moving them around. And it's really awkward on a portable because I'm trying to just like hold the thing up. So to have to keep constantly moving my fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Did you guys happen to see the Switch 2 kind of renders that kind of hit the internet?
Yes,
I did.
Looks a lot like the Switch.
It does.
Was not impressed by the latest round of rumors.
Are we ever supposed to be impressed by new technology that Nintendo does, though? Like, I feel like previously it's just like kind of expected. They're trying to like maybe raise the bar in some like way that you interact with it.
Yeah.
But the actual like technology is never anything that's like, oh wow,
No,
like
yeah,
this is
you're right about that. Yeah, they're more about like interesting new input methods or new places to play as opposed to hardware being very powerful. I would like a new, more powerful Switch though at this point.
Yeah.
Things pretty old. Sam says, what is your favorite call out that is inappropriate? For example, saying Ramatra just got done fisting when changes in Overwatch. That's a weird one. We kind of had quite a bit of them.
Can't say I have anything like that, but I
think a lot of the stuff I've modified so I don't say. I don't know. Someone's gonna get me banned on Twitch.
Mylan just has a lot of clips that will get parents extremely suspicious of him if they find it.
Out of
Like,
context stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we don't hang around that Leo kid. His dad's a little strange.
You know, I hadn't even thought about that yet. You're right. I'm gonna have to start getting rid of some of these clips.
But it's so good though. They're so good.
Yeah, good.
They're so good.
Don't know. I can't think of a. I just swear at everything.
That's it. That was all the questions for this week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Killed it. Crushed it this week. We beat the internet this week.
We did.
Easy peasy.
It's true.
If you haven't watched it yet, we did an interview. Watts set this up, and frankly, Watts, you did an amazing job on that interview. It's the interview with the Monster Hunter community team. It was really fun, and it was really informative too.
Yeah, I think it was like those guys are they're so nice and they're so like happy to talk to everyone. And you know, they've been playing Monster Hunter for a very, very, very long time. So they can talk about it very easily. And you can tell how professional they are about talking about wilds because not a single little slip or anything. It's like very good at turning it around. If you ask a question they can't talk about, they quickly go, let's talk about this. And they do it in such a good way. Yeah, it was really, really fun. And we could do it again when more information is out.
That's great.
Wow,
But yeah, that's up on YouTube. It's also in the podcast feed, like a normal podcast, just without a number associated with it. Anything? Are we all set? Ready to go?
Remnant 2 DLC is next week.
Oh,
for you Remnant players.
Another one.
They announce it and then drop it like max 2 weeks later. So it's always like, oh, another one. It's happening.
I respect that.
Yeah. And Tokyo Game Show is next week. Just
what day does that start?
In general. I think it's the 26th, I want to say.
Okay.
I want to say it's the 26th. Yeah, 26th to the 29th. And that's obviously in Japan, so they're like a day ahead of the US. So we will be getting some news probably on the 25th. But that's like the final really big show because, you know, you've got all the stuff that's going on in LA around E3 time, and then you've got Gamescom, and then you've got Tokyo Game Show. So we should be hearing some news about a ton of games.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap this one up. Thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.